Psychology is both an applied and academic field that benefits both individuals and society as a whole. A large part of psychology is devoted to the diagnosis and treatment of mental health issues, but that is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the impact of psychology. Since the popularity of social media, the development of a global language network can be mapped using book translations, Twitter, and Wikipedia. These social networks are only available to elites, people with access to both traditional and new media. Statistics of use from these social networks indicate that English is definitely the central hub in the global language network. For as long as society has existed, we've understood a role of surrounding influences on our decision-making. With idioms like "it takes a village to raise a child" and "you are the product of your environment," we understand that to a great extent our upbringing, our parents and the society we grew up in influence our decision-making process. It is important to know that even good stress can lead to spikes in blood sugar levels. Mental and physical stress, such as worrying about your job or getting sick, can create negative stress. But even positive or exciting events, like riding on a roller coaster or winning an award, can create stress on your mind and body. Like other cognitive biases, implicit bias is a result of the brain's tendency to try to simplify the world. Because the brain is constantly inundated with more information than it could conceivably process, mental shortcuts make it faster and easier for the brain to sort through all of this data. Across Europe, electricity and gas prices are skyrocketing. This is a massive burden for large sections of the population. In Greece, too, energy bills have risen sharply in recent months. Since the financial and economic crisis, many people are living on the edge of poverty. Despite many similarities with literary political debates in other nations, there are also ways in which the cultural and political situation in Scotland has left the study of Scottish literature in a significantly different condition from that of literary studies in many other parts of the world. Contemporary scholars who study scientific methodology are often frustrated by the implication that science is logically falsifiable. The problem is that scientists can always make excuses to avoid falsifying the claim. The discovery of Neptune is a famous case. Astronomers had noticed irregularities in the orbit of Uranus. About 66 million years ago, the massive asteroid slammed into the Gulf of Mexico. Not long afterward, all non-bird dinosaurs died, as did many other species on land and in the sea. Scientists don't know the exact year this took place, but they now think they have figured out in what season it occurred: spring. Agricultural problems due to climate change with normal weather, water depletion and the collapse of soil have become big problems in all parts of the world. Many are now focusing on ethics and family farming as a way to combat these issues. It is normally expected that the final version of your thesis, which must be submitted to the university library in both hard copy and electronic form, will be freely available to the public. Once in the library, your thesis may be consulted, borrowed and copied in accordance with the regulations. People might think that they're anxious about math because they're bad at it, but it's often the other way around. They're doing poorly in math because they're anxious about it. Some psychologists think that's because math anxiety decreases a cognitive resource called working memory. The bill calls for the establishment of a national landslide hazards reduction program within 1 year of becoming law. The program serves numerous functions, including to identify and understand landslide hazards and risks, reduce losses from landslides, protect communities at risk of landslides hazards, and improve communication and emergency preparedness. In fact, a lot of what we perceive as flavor comes from odor molecules that float up to our smell receptors through our mouths. And as with taste, studies have shown the visual cues we get from color help us identify smells more quickly and accurately. Time management is not that difficult, but it does require advanced thinking and staying on top of tasks that are coming up. Whether the upcoming task is imminent or in the future, it should be recorded. Whether it is recorded on a tech device or paper notepad, the need is the same. A hernia is a weakness or opening in the abdominal wall. which often results in soft tissue such as fat protruding through the abdominal muscles and occupying space under the skin. The mechanism of the hernia is similar to what happens with a bulge in a damaged tire, where the inner tube, normally contained by the hard rubber of the tire, the most significant difference between traditional Chinese architecture and traditional Western architecture is the construction material. Most ancient Western buildings were built of with stones, solemn and magnificent. Most importantly, they survive today. Ancient Chinese people were very good at using wood and created complex mortise. Categorization is the brain's tool to organize nearly everything we encounter in our daily lives. Grouping information into categories simplifies our complex world and helps us to react quickly and effectively to new experiences. Researchers identified neurons encoding learned categories. An innovative new product or service can give a firm a head start over its rivals, which can be difficult for a new entrant to overcome. If the new technology is also patented, then other firms cannot simply copy its design. It is legally protected. The central idea of this book concerns our blindness with respect to randomness, particularly the large deviations. Why do we, scientists or non-scientists, hotshots or regular Joes, tend to see the pennies instead of the dollars? Why do we keep focusing on the minutiae, not the possible significant large events, in spite of the obvious evidence of their huge influence?